In my last video, I installed a CarPlay unit on my 1994 Nissan Hardbody. The next step is going to be a spray-on Herculiner bed liner. I got the kit the other day, and of course I need to prep this really good. It has some surface rust, but most of it is just going to be scuffing up the paint. There's some areas where I'll probably have to hit it with a little primer and then spray on this kit. So the kit is about $120. I got this one off of Amazon, but you can buy it locally at most auto parts stores. And it brings the hardener, the actual bed liner. It brings the little spray gun that you need, measuring cup. It also has some rollers. There's a little mixing paddle and a cool sticker. And the instructions are right on the box. Now the first step was to wash it really good. I used dishwasher liquid. It says to use a household cleaner, including dishwashing liquid, before sanding. And I used a variety of brushes, a medium brush, a big brush, and even a little brush here for the nooks and crannies, especially the corners. Make sure you get those corners really good, because that's where a lot of the dirt accumulates it. And I also went out and bought some additional supplies. You're going to need some acetone as a solvent. Of course, you're going to need some paint tape and something to mask off. Got some sanding disc. They say to go no higher than 100 grit. And then I got my orbital sander. Got this guy with a wire wheel, and I'm going to actually hit some areas that are rusty, and I'm going to have to sand down to the bare metal with some epoxy, 2-part epoxy primer, which I'm going to hit up with the infamous purple gun from Harbor Freight. If you look, the paint is bubbled up in areas, so I'm hitting that with the wire wheel. You can see where I hit it here, and I'm hit it here, so that all that paint that would otherwise peel off later, plus the rust that's underneath, once I take care of that, I'm going to sand it to the bare metal so it's nice and shiny metal like that, or like that, and then I'm going to hit it with that epoxy primer, and it should give me a better finish, and it should stick really well. All I can say is this was not fun. I think I got it all scuffed up. Actually, I have some paint prep that I'm going to wipe it down with, and then look for shiny areas, and then start painting, masking off and start painting. I got it masked off. Then I'm going to put a plastic over the whole cab, and then paint. I ended up giving the whole thing a light coat just to use up everything that I had mixed up, but concentrating on the areas that had the rust. I'm going to let it dry, then the final step. And there it is. I have to say, I love it. It came out so nice. There's some areas where it's a little heavier and it's still drying. It says you can use it after 4 hours, so you can see some areas that are a little darker. But the texture is really nice. I used 3 out of the 4 bottles in the 6-foot bed. The instructions say that you only need 1 coat, and it recommends you only do 1 coat. My compressor, they recommend at least a 1 horsepower. I have a 33-gallon 1.7 horsepower, and I have my pressure set up at about 95. They recommend 60 to 90. At the gun with the trigger pressed, it would go down to 30, so it would run at 30, and at the gun it would measure at about 85 without pressing the trigger. So that's a good, I found that's a good setting. I didn't have to make any adjustments to the gun itself. But oh my God, I love it. And now comes the worst part, which is cleaning up. There's my mess. There's the gun setup. You don't have to put a regulator on it. Now to unmask it, and I'll show the final result. I got all the masking off. I masked very little as far as bolts and stuff. I masked those two screws. Those two plugs were originally not painted, so I covered them up, as well as those two side plugs. So I masked those. The screws that hold the bed down, those were painted over from the factory, so I painted them over. And then I masked those, which are the bolts to the tail lights. Super satisfied with how it came out. I think it's a great product. The epoxy was probably overkill, because afterwards I went and looked at their website, and it said that if there's any rust, sand it to the bare metal, and that's it. Then you just spray over it. It's now been about 12 hours. It dried overnight. Came out like that. One thing I wasn't sure about what to do was what to do with the top edge of the bed. Whether to go ahead and do like all the width up to here, to just stop it here and leave the edge as is. But this used to have a plastic cover, and you can kind of see where it did a little damage, and this edges here, they were really bad. So I went ahead, and what I did was I put about an inch width on the sides and about a ½ inch on the tailgate, and you can see here the line where it used to the plastic cover used to be. But you can still smell it, and it's a little sticky. It's very humid out, so even though it's been about 12 hours, it's still a little sticky. And it does say it'll take 24 to 48 hours to fully cure. I got inspiration to do this from a buddy of mine who did it to his brand new Maverick. So that was pretty brave. And he used the roll-on version, which comes in this gallon. Then he brushed and rolled it on, and it came out really nice. I read online that the spray version does come out a little smoother, not as gritty. So I really like how this one feels. His came out amazing too. You can see here in this picture the way it came out. So if you don't have a compressor and you do not feel comfortable spraying it on, you get great results with the roll-on version too. Yeah, no regrets. This came out amazing, gave new life to this very old truck that is in very nice condition. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, ask below. Any experiences that you had with this type of spray-on liner. And as far as durability, time will tell. Hopefully it doesn't peel up anytime soon. If I have problems with it, I'll make a follow-up video. So thanks for watching.